Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is exactly 9:19 a.m. South African time. And a very big warm welcome to our Polokwane listeners on One Nation FM. Do hope you'll enjoy the second half of the show this morning, right here on Salam Media. Our next guest is Khaunte Bale Nodoba. He is the Secretary for Publicity and Information at AZAPO. And of course, AZAPO is disgusted and outraged by the unapologetic and arrogant display of blatant racist acts of violence meted out against black youth at a resort somewhere near Bloemfontein in the Free State province. We all know about it. We're all aware of it. We've seen the videos that have gone viral, and we've also seen lots of footage on mainstream media. So good morning to you, Khaunt Lebale, and lovely talking with you once again. Your thoughts on this matter? Are you truly outraged?
Good morning, Julie, and the viewers and listeners of Salam Medium. Salam, alaikum salam. We as AZAPO are generally not only outraged, but we believe that now is the time, Julie, to deal decisively with racism, which is basically learned behavior. And we are saying our political dispensation in this country, which happened in 1994, is clearly being exposed that indeed this was a mirage, a lie sold to our people. Reconciliation happens at the expense of justice. And AZAPO is then saying, "Dit is genoeg, it is enough, kwanele." Instead of just only being outraged and writing media statements and complaining, like we did with the Belinda Magor saga, we are going to hunt down these racists. We are going to make their life a living hell. Today, AZAPO is descending on Bloemfontein. We are going to go to the police station, open up another case against these racists, but also descend on their businesses and make them uncomfortable and help them, Julie, to leave the country. Because clearly, these are people that don't want to live in an Azania that AZAPO envisages to be an egalitarian society.
Okay, so I also understand that a charge of attempted murder has been laid against these white adults who supposedly or allegedly assaulted these youth. We have seen footage of that as well. They also dunked the one's head in the water. And that is where the attempted murder charge comes about. Do you believe that that's taking it too far by by the family of the black youth, or do you believe that only by going to the most extreme measures, will you send out a very strong message, and people will rethink how they deal with people of other colors, and white people won't perhaps think of themselves as the superior race?
Julie, the parents of the two youth are our heroes and heroines. They demonstrate what a relionized AZAPO is all about: to stand up and fight and protect blackness if blackness is under attack. You see, Julie, just like the Mamoketi Parking matter and the matter of even Zandile Mafe and the Belinda Magor issue, is a matter of blackness being on trial here, blackness being demeaned, blackness being despised, black people being disrespected, right? And we are saying as AZAPO, in fact, not only should they be charged with attempted murder, they should have been locked up as we speak, Julie. So the jurisprudence in this country is so lenient that these people just get a slap in the wrist for very violent, serious crime against humanity. I mean, what they did to want to drown the poor kid simply because of the color of his skin. It cannot be. Julie, That's why AZAPO is descending on Bloemfontein. We demand an answer from the police and Becky Cele. Why are these white racists, including Belinda Mego, why are they roaming the streets when these people are actually criminals? We are saying, Julie, racism should be criminalized. In fact, it is criminal. Those that engage in it should be locked up. They deserve to be in jail. They deserve to be removed from society. They are people that are toxins to the Azanian society. A society that AZAPO says, all of us must see each other as members of one race, the human race. Clearly, these people have got the Laga Orania mentality. And this is the mentality that we should eradicate. Those that propagated reconciliation and rainbowism, I'm sure they can see that AZAPO was correct in 1994, that this dispensation has actually spoiled white people, have made white supremacy to reign supreme, and they have not dealt with the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is white fragility, white supremacy, racism, arrogance, and also perpetuating the thievery. People having stolen our land, controlling our economy illegally as white people, who are the minority in our own country, and looking down upon other people through a socialization process of superiority and whiteness. And we are saying
Okay.
as AZAPO,
How
they should stop. They should stop, Julie.
almost 30 years later, we believe things haven't changed. Whites are the minority. There are other minority groups like myself as well. How do we change the status quo? How do we change things to be different? How do we integrate minorities into the greater scheme of things and make them part of the whole? What do we do? Because clearly it's the issue is still there, and the issue of the swart gevaar is still around. How do we dispel that?
No. Firstly, Julie, simple one. AZAPO says, let us advocate for anti-racism as opposed to this claptrap called non-racialism and multiracialism. So firstly, we need to deal with that. It must be a clear, concerted effort from government and all sectors of society to advocate anti-racism. So that's the first thing. Secondly, we must ensure that racists serve a mandatory jail term. So the law must be clear. You get engaged, you get caught in racism, it's actually a crime that you go to jail straight away, no negotiations. In other words, Julie, we must emphasize on what we call accountability and consequence management. 3, we must discard this nonsensical narrative of rainbowism, right? A rainbow is based on the so-called reconciliation and forgiveness, right? Forgiveness without justice. The so-called reconciliation is designed to sell to us a mirage known as a rainbow, and you can never reconcile the colors in a rainbow, Julie. They move parallel to one another. So we get mixed messages from government and those that lead society. So the message must be clear. Anti-racism, do away with this nonsensical thing. And also, we must acknowledge that we've got a neoliberal constitution that basically is perpetuating racism. This issue of the guarantee of minority rights. What nonsense is that, Julie? How can you be protected against your own government if indeed it's a democratic order? Now we can see that what you have is a quasi-democracy, right? It's a constitution that basically works against the majority of our people. So we need to rewrite the stupid constitution that we have, because it then makes the jurisprudence of this country to work against Black people. Because
Okay.
the ethos are ethos of non-racialism, not ethos of anti-racism.
Okay, let me speak in the voice of a minority person.
Okay.
Surely there are, there are concerns, there are insecurities as minority groups. How do you integrate the minority groups and also make them realize, make them feel safe enough to be part of the bigger picture, feel safe and feel protected. That is the question, is it not? And
Okay.
let me also go on to add, I'm not a product of white privilege. I never
Yeah.
have been. So people like myself who worked hard, who were
Yeah.
also battling poverty and apartheid when I was growing up. What
Yeah.
about minorities like myself? And also we'll be generous in embracing even the whites that are in the country, the white minorities, because I believe every single person, if felt valued, will play their role and have a role to play in the building of our country.
Julie, what you have just touched on is the elephant in the room. You see, Julie, the best thing that has ever happened to this country is the emergence of the philosophy of black consciousness. You see, black consciousness says there shall be no minorities, there shall be no majorities, there shall be only people, the
Ah,
Azanian people. You see,
okay.
Julie, that's why we define blackness and we say blackness. You see, Julie, you have just referred to yourself. So let me confine me to yourself. You call yourself, they call you a minority, right? They will say our so-called colored, our so-called Indian, and also say our so-called African people. We say because we face the same material circumstances, mentally and psychologically, we must come together and fight for our liberation and fight that which causes us into seeing each other as minorities, as what we call ethnic minorities. So black consciousness is saying there is nothing like that. Those are constructs that are meant to divide a people, that if they stand together, like Brother Louis Farrakhan would say, right? To say once we stand together as black people, which is the essence of black consciousness and AZAPO, black solidarity, we will then be able, Julie, to dispel these cobwebs. So this minorities kind of narrative, right, is a claptrap that is part of the cobwebs that actually is delaying our liberation and our solidarity as a people and Azanian people, not minority. So, Julie, to me, you are a comrade.
Okay,
You
I
are not a
love your
minority.
energy. I love your energy. And as you speak, I'm just thinking that people like yourself should be in national government, because you have very, very strong narratives to push forward, very especially when we see all this wholesale corruption and raping of the resources in our country. We need voices like yours to get this country back into shape. Why are we not why are we not hearing more, stronger voices and strong voices like yourself? I don't think we'd have been in the mess we are in now. Here we are adding such strong narratives and voices to an incident, between two different color groups. In fact, I understand even President Ramaphosa has added his voice to it. But where was his voice, or where is his voice, and where are the strong voices against all the other major issues in the country? Are we kind of just focusing on little issues because we want quick wins? And I mean,
Uh,
I'm not diminishing this at
okay.
all. This has to be addressed. We need to stamp out such type of attitudes. They don't have place in our society. I, as a Muslim, don't see black and white. Our religion embraces color, all colors and creeds. We look and see beyond color. You are a human being just like myself. So what do
Uh,
how
uh,
do you respond to what I've just said now?
Firstly, Julie, and the viewers of Salam Media and the listeners, that's why I said to you earlier on when I started, the most positive thing to have emerged in occupied Azania is the philosophy of black consciousness. Because what it does, Julie, it cuts across all sectors of society. It brings a consciousness. You see, Julie, for AZAPO, it's not about what you call small wins or quick wins. It's about transforming the thinking of society. It's about bringing to effect what we call the dynamism of Black thinking. Julie, we had, if you know, just to remind your listeners, we had what we call Black theology. And what we did was to recognize the fact as Black consciousness in AZAPO that our people will have belief systems, whether it's African religion, some of them have gone into Christianity, some of them have gone into Islam. And we as AZAPO, we have got comrades in all these religions. And me, myself also, I've got the English version of the Quran that I read, so that I'm able to understand. Because the Quran, just as the Bible, these are books of wisdom. If you look at the Quran, for instance, it indicates to you, it cuts across society, the life of a person, the economy, how the economy should be organized according to Islam, how you should behave in terms of your moral behavior, right? You get into African society as well. It's the same thing. The only difference there is orally transmitted from generation to generation. Now you see, Julie, let us come to the cancer and the scourge that we have called corruption. You see, the African National Congress inherited an inherently corrupt system. They were quick to get into this thing. Now, what they committed, and AZAPO won them in 1994, is to then say, what are the fundamentals of the struggle? The fundamentals of the struggle is land reconquest and the control of the economy by the majority of the people. Now look at what the Bible says and look what Islam says about land, about the economy, about brotherhood and sisterhood, about solidarity, right? Now those are the ethos that the African National Congress ignored. Those are the value systems that they ignored. So them getting involved in corrupt actions was a natural and logical development. We then said, you can't inherit the system, dismantle the system. That's what we are saying as AZAPO. So we are saying all these guys, from President Ramaphosa downwards, they should be in orange overalls. They should be in jail. Because what all of them have done, Julie, is treason.
Absolutely.
I mean, putting your hand in the cookie jar of treasury, of money of our people. That's a treason. Then you come to these land thieves and these racists. We are saying as a relionized AZAPO, corrupt people must be in jail. Land thieves must run for their lives. Racists must run for their lives because AZAPO is after them. AZAPO is after everyone who is anti-Black. So corruption is an anti-Black activity and manifestation. Racism is anti-Black. Land thievery or stealing and theft, that is anti the values and the ethos of self-love, of self-reliance, of Black solidarity, which is the essence of Ubuntu and Blackness. You are, Julie, because I am.
Absolutely.
And Julie, for us as AZAPO, it's not quick wins. It's about bestowing to this country a human face. Because all of us, Julie, are members of the human race. So white racists have been socialized alongside the ideology of racism, which then speaks about superiority of human beings above others, which is ideological nonsense and claptrap, which belongs to the dustbin of history. Now, Julie, before you come in, here is a book that I prescribe to my postgraduate students. White Fragility. Why is it hard for white people to talk about racism? And it's written by a white person from Robin DeAngelo from the US. And what happens in the US is a mirror image of what happens in this country.
Okay.
Yes, Julie?
We're going to have to wrap up. I don't have much time. I could sit here talking all day long with you. Let me just read out two messages. Fazila Aswa, thank you for your message. She says, thank you for explaining what black consciousness really is. Thank you, Fazila, for your comment. And then Momi Metzing has also sent us a message saying, well said, comrade. Obviously, they're very pleased with your explanation this morning. Always a pleasure talking with you. A very quick answer to my final question, if you don't mind. What do you believe is going to be the appropriate sentence meted out to these perpetrators regarding the assault of these teenagers at the spa in Bloemfontein, at the pleasure resort in Bloemfontein?
Julie, quickly, at the very minimum, and this is now the very minimum, it should be a jail term of not less than 5 years, right?
Okay.
And one of these particular male races is called Kobus Klassen. And we are descending upon his business today in Bloemfontein. We are going to make it uncomfortable for him. We are going to say to people, this is a person, you white society, there is a person that doesn't belong. If you really want to integrate into the Azanian society, you as white people must start helping us to get rid of these toxins in society. We want to assist. So if they don't get jail term, AZAPO, just like with Belinda McGaw, we are going to assist them to leave this country. We are going to take them to the nearest airport and assist them to go, because they don't belong in this country. So minimum 5 years. We'll be happy if it's more than 5 years. Jail term.
I look forward to talking to you again as soon as next week, I hope. Always wonderful chatting with you. Thank you indeed for being on the show this morning. Go well. God bless.
Yeah, thank you very much, Julian, the listeners and viewers of Salam Media. Shukran.
Assalamu alaikum to you. It is exactly 9:40 a.m. News and views right here on Salam Media. Our next guest, well, rather it's not a guest per se, but we are going to take a listen to a pre-recording by the MEC for Human Settlements and Infrastructure Development. That, of course, is Lebogang Maile, regarding the update of the terrible situation that played out a few days ago. The gas tanker exploding in Boksburg. I think the death toll stands at 18. Sadly, I think 7 or 9 of those people that were killed, each and every life lost was absolutely devastating. But I think 7 nurses that walked out of the hospital to try and see what was going on also lost their lives in that horrible tragedy. So let's listen to the MEC for Human Settlements and Infrastructure Development.